Next, we will put together the dual fire insert assembly with the explosives. First you want to do is take a piece of cord that's roughly 7 inches long. Make a nice clean cut. Take a booster, slip it over the cord, press it tight up against the cord so you got good powder-to-powder contact between the cord and the booster, and you want to crimp that in place. Next thing you want to do is slip a crimp sleeve over the end with the flare facing the open end of the cord. Then you want to measure with the booster (6 5/8 of an inch. Usually make a small mark so I don't miss my cut. Take your cutter, make a clean cut at the mark. Take a booster, slide it over the end, same way. Hold it tight, crimp it in place. And you'll do the same thing with the second piece of cord. And once you've got the boosters crimped in place, slide this booster retainer over the end. Make sure your booster is flush with the end. Slide the crimp sleeve up against the bottom of that insert and crimp it in place. You'll do the same thing with the second piece of cord. Then we'll go ahead and assemble the hardware pieces onto our dual fire insert. First thing we'll do is take this dual booster.
Hold on. Can you say that last part one more time? Just this whole section.
Yeah. Okay, so the next we'll go ahead and put the hardware into our dual fire insert. We'll take the dual booster holder. We'll install the retainer O-rings on it. Smaller O-ring, 218, goes on the bottom. Use a very light coat of downhole high temperature grease. Then we'll take this, a line.
Hold on. Just restate the last 2 things you said.
Okay. Then we'll take this Okay, then we'll take this dual booster holder. Make sure you align the holes with the slots in the housing. And then we will tap that in place. Probably just use a brass rod. Tap it to where it's bottomed out. And the next thing we will do is take the little alignment pins, and we'll tap the alignment pins in these two small holes at the top of this dual fire insert. Just gently tap them in because you do not want to bend the pins. Once they're in place, you'll have approximately 3/8 of an inch sticking out. Next, we'll take this cord in one side, slide it in, and then we can use a brass rod to make sure this booster goes in the correct side. You can use a brass rod or you can use a dowel rod. You have to kind of get the cord straight so the booster will slide in. Sometimes it's a little tricky. We want to make sure it's going in the correct side. Flat blade screwdriver. Thread it down in there to where it's just snug. Then you'll do the same thing with the other side. Okay, so you'll do the same thing with the other side. Slide it down. Make sure your booster's coming out on the side. Use a screwdriver, flat blade screwdriver. Snug it down. So now you've got dual boosters in the bottom, and then you've got your two side boosters in the top. These lie together inside this housing. Next thing we'll do is lightly lubricate these small O-rings. One on top, one on the bottom. Make sure you do not bend these little pins, because these pins are what aligns these boosters with the two firing head sides. So when you're sliding this piece in there, you want to make sure you align it with the two holes that are in the top. Make sure it's perfectly aligned. As you're pushing this dual fire insert in, you want to make sure that you're completely aligned in the top. Sometimes you have to get a flashlight to make sure that these are aligned perpendicular with or parallel with the two holes that are in the firing head assembly. In some cases you'll have to take a pair of pliers and maybe rotate slightly to make sure you get it completely aligned to where it's going in. Once you get it aligned, it'll go in there quite easy. When you tap on it, you want to tap on the side and tap it down to where it's just past snap ring groove. Once you get past the snap ring groove, then you can take this retaining ring, a pair of snap ring pliers, snap it in place to hold this dual fire insert into the body.
Oh, on the next one now?
Yeah. Next, we'll go ahead and slightly lubricate the O-rings with a high temp downhole grease and install these O-rings on the dual fire housing sub. Two O-rings on each end. Then we'll take that dual fire housing sub, lock it in the vise, put some grease on the threads and the O-rings, and we'll have this housing, the long box thread goes on here. The short box is the one that attaches to the top sub of the gun. So we'll thread this bottom sub onto the dual fire housing sub. And we'll tighten it. Now we can set this sub-assembly aside and go on to our next section.